Brian Von VA here, back at it again with a brand new video. Today, GMs, what was the dumbest thing you ever tricked your players into doing? That's what we're going to explore. Leave a comment down below letting us know what you tricked your players into doing lately. Nothing. My players always take the initiative when it comes to stupidity. Same here. One time they needed to get from one side of a city to the other. There was nothing to interfere with their travel. Normally, it would just be a scene change and they would be there. Instead, they spent half an hour arguing amongst themselves about how to travel. Another time, while investigating a cult, they go deep in a sewer where they find a spiral staircase going down even further. At the bottom, they find a lever, which they then proceed to pull without a second thought. How am I supposed to trick them into doing something dumber than that? Accepting me as their DM. They could do so much better. A random NPC they had never met before told them the king was a doppelganger. Oh no! He was right about to start giving his evidence and trying to convince them when they just said, "All right, we're on it," and went to their closed-door meeting. It took about a minute before they murdered him. The NPC that gave him the information was the king's brother. The stupid part is that they asked me for more social encounters, and when I tried setting up a web of courtly intrigue and lies, they just believed the first thing they heard and went full murder hobo. I told them there was a flask full of deadly poison on a shelf. They laughed and asked how they knew it was poison, and I said, "Oh, right, never mind then, just a flask." And one of them went and drank it. First campaign I GM'd, D&D 5th edition. I'd been playing for a long time beforehand, but with a forever GM, that was great, until he threatened to financially bankrupt a fellow player in real life. So this was my first chance to GM after some time of playing and thinking about things. 3 to 4 session pirate ship adventure with a kraken fight at the end. Party sailing into a cave structure made of coral that shimmers between 3 colors. They sail into a chamber with a large singular coral pedestal jutting out from the water. Someone hits it. The pedestal turns one of the 3 colors, and with it, the rest of the coral making up the structure. Someone casts a spell and it faintly glows, making the rest of the structure glow with it. The party proceeds to f*** with this in various ways for almost an hour, wondering what it all means. Was initially going to make it a will save, but instead started ad-libbing to make them think their actions were part of solving some big puzzle. I run out of ideas and they eventually realized they were just wasting their time, and we had a good laugh about it before moving on. I'm not one to try to trick my players into things, but like many have typed in this thread, players have a great knack for tricking themselves, myself included. Currently in progress, but low-level intro mini-campaign. Players investigating a curse that's consuming the Baron's land. Meet a Death Knight in a burned-down monastery. Convinces PCs he's a symptom of the curse instead of the cause. Tells the PCs he failed in his quest to rid the land of the curse for his lord, the Baron. Aids, yeah, get it? Nudge, nudge, the party in how to lift the curse. They return big damn heroes. Death Knight thanks them and kindly asks that they return his sword to the Baron as a sign of his devotion. The knight spoke to the party through a disembodied voice for the most part, and never left the monastery. When they took his sword, the Death Knight slumped over and just stopped talking. The party was convinced his soul was set free. He was just playing dead. And are now underway to give the sword to the Baron, which will insta-kill him and his bloodline. I look forward to the mess this is going to cause next session. Entire village is being held hostage to Evil Mage by soul-splicing powers. Evil Mage is attempting to build super powerful evil magic statue and using his hold over the village to help assemble it. Get players to find the last 2 pieces and build it for him. Although in this case it was less trick and more ask openly because I wanted to test a theory that they'll always side with the first person they run into in an area no matter how obviously bad an idea it is, or how many chances they get to back out once they get more information. Rumors of a powerful magical item gets the party's attention. Stories of a bandit chief that knocked down a tower with his hand. Party decides to kill the bandit chief, not for his crimes, but to steal his glove, hand, ring, belt, whatever of massive strength. Party starts tracking from destroyed tower. Party ignores signs of a ram, including chopped trees and f***ing wheel tracks. finds bandits. Murder Hobo 101 begins. Bandit has one hand with a hammer for the other. Kill Chief. Remove his stump guard. Cleric cuts off his left hand, puts stump guard on. Nothing happens. The rogue laughs because it was on the Chief's right hand. Fighter cuts off his right hand, puts on stump guard. Nothing happens. Mage identification of stump guard. Guys, stop cutting hands off. It's not magic. Rogue and Mage search the Chief again, find a gold tooth, decide that is the magical strength-giving item. Trade punches till one loses a tooth. Insert gold tooth, looks blingy, but it doesn't increase strength. Bandit scouts return and wipe out the wounded party. Point out how they had several clues that the tower was destroyed by a ram, not by the Chief. Oh, beans. Convince them to stand very, very still, while a ghost ate one character's soul through the back of his head. What the hell? Also, later assisted her in freeing the ghost's twin dead sister from ghost hunters and releasing the two of them to snack on sleeping people's minds. How heartwarming. The power of cute monsters should never be underestimated. My party were members of a guild, essentially legally sanctioned vigilantes. We received a contract to rescue a dragonborn bard who had been kidnapped the week before. Our only lead was the theater in which he had last been seen, which was located in a fairly bad part of the city. Now, let's ask everybody here, how would a normal party investigate this? Leave it in the comments below. How would you investigate this situation? Now, would you send the party face to inquire to see if anyone has seen the bard? Would you go digging through historical records to see if there has been similar kidnappings in the past? Maybe you would try to see if there were any tracks or signs of a struggle. We marched right past the bard's ex-girlfriend, who told us that if we found him, we should beat the late child support payments out of him. We marched right past the local moneylender, who was irate that the bard had never returned to pay off his debts. We marched right past the guards, gossiping loudly about the strange figure that they saw trying to sneak out of the city. Hey, did you see that strange figure going out of the city? Yeah, man. Let's not pay attention to him, though. Our DM had done everything short of flat out telling us that the kidnapping was staged, and the bard just skipped town. Keep this in mind when we tell you that why my party did was become convinced that the local theater was the secret territory of an Urson-worshipping druid cult, who held our kidnapped bard captive. Why did we think this? Because our poor DM decided to make a relatively highbrow reference when he named the theater. Pursued by bear. Add into the mix a bunch of metagaming PCs who thought they were better than the game. A completely garbled group recollection of the plot, The Winter's Tale, and the memory of a bar fight with a local druid that our barbarian provoked in the first place, but mind you, and we found ourselves exiled from the city, our reputation in tatters, and out of a job. My DM, being the pro that he is, eventually brought in the Dragonborn Bard as a replacement character for one of our players, whose character had been killed. The warlord's fortress is nigh impenetrable. Its towers reach far into the sky. Its parapets are studded with automatic weapons, and its pre-fall walls are invulnerable to all but the highest yield tactical nuclear weapons. Every day, the local peasantry stream in through the southern gate in order to plead their cause to the despot in person. But those folks are watched carefully, and any who even give the guards a reason to suspect them are pulled aside and beaten. We need to get in there! Yeah, but you heard what he said, right? About the southern gate? No, about the secret weakness of the walls. We just need to get a high-yield nuclear warhead. Oh yeah, good idea! Didn't we find some old nuclear bombers in the desert a few weeks back? Oh shit, yeah! The rest of the session is them buying supplies and preparing for their trek back out into the desert. Whatever it may be, it still pales against the stupid shit they do all on their own. Save the city. King tries to reward them, tries to name them heroes, a nobility rank. PC refuses in the middle of the ceremony. Can't let a rank get between her and her people. Jester has to bust in and distract everyone as the PC gets extracted. Catfight ensues. We had a magic book that contained the spirit of an elf within it, that hated dwarves and kept insulting the party's dwarf, but also warned him not to mess with him. Well, like any true dwarf, he took the bait and smacked the book. He got cursed and lost all of his body hair except on the top of his head. Well, he kept on burning down any book the party came across, much to the dismay of the mage at that point. There's only one stupid thing I've actually tricked my players into doing so far, since I'm a newish GM. The game was about them fighting a monster in a small town that, when it appeared, cut off electricity, much like Stranger Things. One of the players was a sheriff, and in order to kind of corral the players together, I had the other two arrested. Not for no reason, though. They assaulted the town librarian. That's a no-no. Specifically, they put her in a chokehold because she was trying to destroy evidence. Anyway, they're in jail, and I specifically mentioned that the door that led to the cell block had an electronic lock with a keypad. I also specifically mentioned that the librarian was in one interview room, and that there was another one free. So instead of taking the other two players out of the cell block and into the interview room, the sheriff player decides to talk to them right then and there. They had already acknowledged in character that the monster cut off power when it appeared. So when the monster appeared, it was a spirit and could basically appear out of nowhere as it materialized from the spirit world, and the power cut off. They all scrambled to get out into the main building, where everyone was screaming and panicking, but the electronic door wouldn't open. The power was off. All of it. So, the librarian died before the sheriff could question her, because the monster killed her while he was stuck behind an electronic lock that his character and him had every reason to know would fail. I still don't know if this was fair or not, but at the time, I was just really surprised that they had fallen for it. Gave them a mysterious artifact known as the Murder Stone. What was it, a big rock that you could just crush people with, or a small one that you could shoot people with? When they picked it up, I placed a sealed envelope on the table. I told them that they can open it when they use the stone. The envelope sat in full view for 3 sessions. The players convinced themselves that it must be something powerful. Boss fight happens. The paladin and cleric are down. The rogue decides to use the stone. The stone summons a small crow. I hand the player the envelope. The inside reads, "A group of crows. It's called a murder." Oh my god. They like to say I tricked them, but honestly, it's f***ing awful luck. Old man is head of a wizard's college. Asks the players to collect artifacts for him to study. Ha! They fail every history, arcana, and insight check. Towards the end, I throw at them. Start lowering DC more and more and more. DC 10 for every odd symbol etched into these glass shards. Failed every single one. Turns out the old man was studying to become a lich. After last artifact was found, headmaster disappears. Their face when I fill the players in once the campaign was over. You poor saps. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and of course, let me know in the comments below what you have done that you could say tricked your fellow players. Now, we also would like to shout out Loot Goblin again. You can check out Loot Goblin in one of these handy-dandy boxes on screen or in the comments or pinned comments down below, maybe even in the description. We love you all. Please be safe, be happy, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.